Hello colleagues, I'm here with Caroline and Caroline is going to explain us something about land management. Caroline, what is land management?
Well, so land management is the package of procedures, policies, processes and institutions through which land is managed.
And why is that so important for our projects?
Well, it's particularly important to citizens and local governments. And as we work with local governments or we support them to better perform in their duties towards citizens, it is one of the topics that we work on in several projects and countries.
And what is it then exactly that we do?
So we support local governments into their service provision regarding land, but also support all the processes going around the governance of land. So land is a huge, big factor of conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have discussions around it. If not, that can turn violent.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of so you say it concerns our services that we deliver to citizens. So what kind of services are local governments delivering on the field of land management to citizens, or where does the conflict come from when you talk about the conflict?
Yeah. So we support local governments in the provision of service that they deliver towards the citizens. And that's usually delivering certificates, for example. But it's also having dialogue with the citizens to make sure that they agree on who owns which plot.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not only about ownership, it's also about the use. So we support local governments to organize dialogue with the citizens and with other organizations that may have interest in land, to make sure that all these processes run smoothly.
So it's all about the right that you have to use or access or go through certain land and the way that we deal with that also among different groups of people, right? And so what is the specific approach that VNG International then implements? What do we do exactly?
Yeah. We do a lot of capacity building, and that can be trainings, can be on-the-job coaching with government officials, elected people, but also the technical staff, to make sure they have the right skills to perform their duties towards the citizens.
And so can you give an example of the projects that we work on land management?
We've had a good track record in Benin, we still do. Also in Togo, Burundi, Mozambique, for example, also DRC. And there we work on the service deliveries from the local governments towards the citizens, but it's not just about land, it's also about food security, about productivity for the agriculture sector. It can be about water management as well.
And what does land management have to do with food security? Where do the both topics come together?
So earlier you mentioned land use. Well, that's about it. You can use a plot for different uses. It can be recreational, it can be where people live, it can be an agriculture zone. Even within the agriculture part, you can have fields, you can have animals, you can have forests. So land can be used in many different ways.
Yeah. And so that also can actually help in securing food security. And what is the benefit for the local governments when they have all the land registered? What is in it for them?
And the main thing is that it allows them to raise taxes. So once you know who owns what, you can actually tax them on their property or sometimes on the use as well. And then you can provide other types of public services to your citizens, so that can help with water delivery. So that you have a source of income for the municipalities.
Exactly. So okay, interesting. Hey, and what do you think in terms of the future of this topic? And perhaps you can also tell a little bit about the way we work with other partners on this topic.
Sure. Well, we have a lot of work in the land sector, because local governments are at the heart of the interface with the citizens. So it really matters that they can perform the services well and deliver. But our work is mainly focused on the governance part, so on the dialogue, on politics. It's all about putting a bit of oil in the gears so it runs smoothly. But you also need a lot of technical skills, and that we don't necessarily have in-house. So we work with more technical partners like Cadastre International from the Netherlands or Cadastre Foundation in the US. But we work with other types of partners as well that can be more focused on agriculture, like Agriterra or ZOA as well.
So we, depending on the specific topic or where we work on regarding land management, we work with different partners, and we always focus on the strengthening of the local governance
Exactly, and there is really a lot to do in the coming years, because land is mentioned in 5 of the 17 SDGs as one of the main topics or within the indicators. So it shows that it's really a cross-cutting subject to achieve sustainable development.
Yeah, and I can completely imagine from how you're explaining this to me, and of course everyone wants to know that the land they are on is actually theirs, and that it can actually ensure a sustainable way for their future. So that's very interesting. Thank you very much, Caroline, for explaining this a little bit. And
thank you, Renske.
To the colleagues, should you want more information on this topic, and if you're interested in how this specifically works in the context of the countries that Caroline just mentioned, please find her somewhere in the office, or give her a call to get to more details, get to know more details. Thank you so much, Caroline.
Thank you, Renske.